Recovery.
We're taking pictures. We're live right now. Yo, what's up? Welcome to Sober Guy Radio. Thanks to Humans for bringing us in. Thanks to you for supporting the show. We are live at the Innovations in Recovery Conference in San Diego, California, brought to you by Foundations Recovery Network. Big thanks to them for bringing Sober Guy Radio out and allowing us to hang out and meet some great people in the recovery industry, talk some recovery, and really hope to change some lives. Our guest today is Scott Silverman, who is the man, and I don't even know Scott yet, but we're going to get to know each other a little bit right now.
Yes,
what's up, man?
Will.
How are
yes,
you?
You will. I'm great, Shane. Nice to be here, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad you joined us today. You just gave me a
Joined
awesome
us. I made
book.
an appointment yesterday. I came by twice yesterday. Came early this morning, reminded you, and chased you down to make sure you're sitting in your chair.
He
when I
did.
got
You
here.
basically bugged the shit out of me, and
Right.
now we're sitting together, and we're
And
gonna
people will now know who I really am.
That's right.
Or are.
Yeah, because of this, right?
Yep.
You gotta-
emotional. Was it? What was it?
Emotional nudity.
Oh, I thought it was emotional sobriety.
Emotional. Don't you like that though? Emotional.
I do. I don't understand it, but I really
I gotta
like
say
it.
that I kind of bit off of that a bit. You ever heard the radio talk show host Michael Savage?
No, I have not. Why would you enunciate like that?
I don't know.
Is he a
I
relative
like
of
his
yours?
name, Michael Savage.
Wow.
Savage Nation. He says something about emotional nudity. I said, you know what? That is really cool, and it is applicable to recovery. So I kind of jacked
it's
it
like
from him.
I do a thing called emotional ROI, emotional return on investment. I did that on a business show a couple of years ago
Nice.
because they want to talk about business. I said, well, how about the emotional recovery?
Yeah, it works, man.
Yeah,
it works.
I like it.
it.
I think it makes sense.
So you're from San Diego, right, Scott?
I am. I'm born and raised here. I'm a native San Diegan, and actually we're sitting here at the Hotel Del, and I got to tell you, 35 years ago, this past March the 7th, I was in the reception in the big room after my wedding.
Really?
Actually, more in the bathroom with cocaine for 3 hours than I was actually dancing with my bride. But I made amends, and we renewed our vows 18 years later, and it was
Nice.
exciting. But the Hotel Del has a lot of special memories for me. And to be honest, there's a lot of memories I just can't get back from the Hotel Del as well.
Yeah, that is funny, man. We have some similarities there. Then we share some common.
Were you a
interests
wedding
in
reception
our-
here as well 35
I
years
didn't
ago?
have it here, but I
Shane,
had.
you're not
some
even 35 years old. So you would.
I'm exactly 35, actually.
Okay, so you were born the night I was
born
shit-faced in the
night
bathroom.
that you were doing blow in the bathroom of the Hotel Del. I was probably.
You know,
born.
it was actually cocaine. It wasn't blow because in those days the purity level was much, much higher, and I had
It
some
was like
friends
pure cocaine.
bringing it up from Mexico. Yeah, because I
Really?
used to be an unlicensed pharmacist, so I had some connections.
Yeah.
And it was a special night on a variety of different levels.
So obviously, then you have your own story of recovery.
I do.
Where does that start?
I cannot remember where it started, but no,
That's
actually,
a great answer.
Yeah, I was in New York in November 1984, and I had a week of blackouts, and I was on the 44th floor of a building, and I'd been drinking all week and drugging all week, and I was picked up the night before by New York's finest. And during those days, I used to carry a badge, and there was a conference in town, so they just assumed that I was there for the conference, put me the back of their rig, took me to the hotel brought the luggage rack out, put me on it, and put me in my bed, and I woke up the next day, and my ring was on my opposite hand, I had a knot in my head, my traveler's checks were gone, my airline ticket was gone, and I called downstairs the front desk, and I said, hi, this is Mr. Silverman, and something's not right, and they go, oh my goodness, we've been waiting for you to call us, please come downstairs at your earliest convenience. So I get downstairs, I go to security, they give me my ID, they give me my checkbook, they give me my traveler's checks, they give me my airline ticket, and they said, look, we appreciate your business, but we never want you to come back to this hotel again. So I said to them, look, would you do me a big favor? And they go, what is that? I said, would you mind telling me what happened last night? Because I have absolutely no recollection. Then he told me the story about the cops bringing me in, wheeled me up in my room. I was belligerent, and then I passed out, and they put me in bed fully clothed. And that day I decided, going to my first appointment, there was a group of coworkers there. I slept in this guy's office for a minute, and I said, look, can I use your office? I'm going to make a call. The window was open. I couldn't breathe. I smelled like alcohol from the week.
Musty smell.
Oh, my. Sat on the windowsill, and I said, you know what? How am I going to explain this to anybody? It may be just time for me to lean back. I'm up 44 floors, and when I hit the ground, I won't feel a thing. Guy walks in. He goes, what are you doing, man? You're going to fall out the window. And
You were actually standing there?
I was
ready?
sitting on the windowsill. The window was open because it was a hot day in New York in November, and I was prepared to kill myself.
Fuck, man. What's going through your mind at that point?
Well, at that point, it's interesting. A funny tape went through my mind when my mom used to say, suicide is selfish. Because I can remember as a kid, I used to say, I want to just kill myself. And I'd leave these notes, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that,
I think I did that a couple times.
And one day she actually, she made a note for me so I could carry it around. Suicide is selfish. And that thing in my head, the guy intervening, I just pushed myself forward, started crying. I got on the phone, called my wife, woke her up, and I said, look, call the doctor and tell him I'm ready. Flew home that night and checked into rehab. That was the 11th of November, 1984, 2 days of medication. So my sobriety date's November 13th, 1984.
Wow, man. So, shit, I can't do my math right now, but...
a little over 32 years.
Man, congratulations, man.
I only know that because my wife forgot last year, and she made up for it this year. She gave me 20 cards on my birthday, and and it's when I hear people talk about long-term sobriety, I wonder, and my attitude is like, I just want people to know there is hope and there is help.
Yeah.
And that when you think about how many days that is in a row, it's a lot. But I've had a lot of stuff happen in sobriety too that was kind of tough, and I know that when people talk about struggling with, and especially in the rooms, about early recovery and thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to get through another day? All I did was this and that for years, and I did it too, and I get it. So I'm now in the business. I run a treatment center, and I do crisis coaching and intervention, and I believe that if I can help somebody get access to treatment, then I'm doing not only the work I'm supposed to be doing, but what God wants me to do.
Yeah, I love that, man. If I'm staying focused on God and putting Him first, my day can seem to go pretty damn smooth and easy. And as soon as I get out of that thinking and I start trying to control my stuff, man, my days can get jacked up real quick.
Can I give you some feedback?
I would love it.
Yesterday when the equipment wasn't working, I kind of looked like God might have been taking a break while you were going through getting your equipment working.
Exactly, man.
And it's so funny in life, between what we do each day and how we get through it, if we don't have some sort of connection to something other than ourselves, and I know a lot of people have an issue with the God stuff, and I'm a firm believer. And it's interesting, I'm a 12-step guy, and I believe in absence-based recovery, but I run a treatment center that's not 12-step based, and we believe in, medication-assisted treatment. We believe in helping people with harm reduction, and we believe in meeting, our clients where they're at, because one size does not fit all. And I believe that if we can eliminate some of the stigma and the barriers to treatment, we'd see more people come in, but probably come in with a different attitude, because at the end of the day, 360 people are dying in our country every single day from addiction, and 94 of them from prescription medication. So to weigh in on what are we going to do to change this? I mean, it's a pandemic, and you look at what's going on with opiates, you look what's going on with fentanyl, and you look what's going on with the cocktails people are taking today. And one more fact, and I'll let you go on your question next, Jane, is 2015, 264 million prescriptions for opiates were written in this country, and they're only written by medical professionals. So I think there's a population out there, if we can help them get educated, maybe we could slow it down a little bit, and then if we can get the resources and the industry to look at it and treat it appropriately, we could start saving lives.
Yeah, there's an article I just came across about that out in Florida, about the manufacturer for, I think it was Oxycontin, and there's a big case pending right now for just what you're speaking of.
Is that the one in Virginia?
I think it was in Florida. I think I have it. Anyways, there's
going to be a lot of those, unfortunately, because they're the company that makes that product. That's the only product they make, I believe, is Purdue, which is fascinating. And people always ask me. I do periodic interviews, and I'm one of the experts for our local news station. And the question always comes up is there someone to blame for all this? And, my attitude is, well, no. I mean, blaming the pharmaceutical manufacturers, like telling the cocaine grower down in South America, Colombia, you're the reason why we have a drug problem. We have a demand in this country, unfortunately, that we have to find a way to show people that there are alternatives to mood-altering substances. And is it your job to do it? Is it my job to do it? Is it the mom and dad's job to do it? Is it the school's job to do it? I think we all have to chime into a little bit of it and own it.
Well, I think, and you brought up a good point when you were saying your own recovery in 32 years. The drug and the alcohol space of it is the face of the problem, right? Mm-hmm. That's up front, but really it's about dealing with life. You've been clean and sober for 32 years. I'm sure you've had some extremely joyful times and some extremely rough times where you've had to deal with things, but you've cut out the alcohol and the drugs to deal with that. You got to deal with life. So basically what I'm getting at is a recovery program is not just about quitting, whatever it is you're addicted to. It's about learning how to deal with life.
You know what? That's a great point. And my favorite topic, in a meeting is living life on life's terms. Because when you think about it, once you remove the mood-altering substance, the example that I like is diabetes. When you get diagnosed with diabetes, you go in, you do an intake, you do an evaluation, insurance pays for whatever you need, and then you're going to be on some sort of monitoring mechanism with insulin for the rest of your life. And people that get, oh, thank God I found the cure. This is great. I can live a normal life now. I just have to do a few things. And if you compare the disease of addiction, which finally, after 50 years, the Surgeon General has finally said it is a physical addiction, not a moral, deficiency, that if we treated it like that, we'd find ourselves, I think, not only feeling better, but doing better. But to your point, when you've spent, I only spent 15 years under the influence of mood altering, and the science says you stop growing emotionally. So at 15, I started using, and at 30, when I stopped, I had the emotional, maturation rate of a 15-year-old. So it takes a few years to kind of ramp back in, and that's the frustrating part. But once you stabilize and you get the tools, I had a situation the other day that came up from this guy from 56 years ago, found me on Facebook.
Really?
56 years ago.
That's a long time.
Shut up, Mr. 35. So he goes, are you the guy that lived on a street in La Mesa, blah, blah, blah? And I go, yes, I am. Thinking, he saw me on the news. He goes, you were such a bully. And my two friends who lived in the same street with you, we would walk across the street. This is a part of the community where there were no sidewalks. So it was a little street. And we were afraid of you. And I'm thinking, I was 7 years old. And this guy just popped up out of the blue.
He remembered that he carried that shit for all those years.
So I said to him, look, I am so sorry, and I want to make my amends. I cannot honestly tell you I remember those days. And he goes, we were so happy when you moved out at 7. And we didn't move out. I left there when I was 15. I explained that to him in the messaging. And I said I was sent to a special school. And he goes, well, we thought you moved out, so we felt safer. So I made my amends immediately with this. And I showed it to my wife, and she read it, and she goes, don't show this to the kids, because my kids have never seen me loaded. They're 25 and 30, so they never saw me hot. But it was fascinating. But I was able to make the amends immediately, and I felt bad that he felt bad. And then he emails back, I can finally let this go.
After that long, man.
After all this,
but even at 7, I don't.
Which tells you the kind of guy I really am, Shane. Evidently, when I make a first impression, it lasts. Oh my God! Sure. I felt so bad for a couple of days, so I sent him a copy of my book, which I gave you one, but and I actually signed it, but I put my real name down too. And he got it the other day and emailed me. He says, I can't tell you how grateful I am for you taking the time to do this. I had no idea you'd even respond, because the only memories I have of you is when we were both 7 years old, and I thought you were the worst human being on the planet. At 7.
At 7. I can't remember the shit I did at 7.
But for you, that was only 26 years ago.
And
for me, it was 56 years ago.
I know, and I still can't remember. So it's amazing that man carried that memory around.
Well, I like you. I couldn't remember either, because a lot of things happened between that time and now. But it's just amazing to me. What was amazing was that there was a reason why he came out of where he came from, and there was a reason why I responded to it. Because most people would go up yours and move on, but
I see that as a God thing, though. Like, to me,
exactly.
that's what I think it is. I mean, God makes those connections, and
I teed that up for you, Sue.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You did.
Because I'm looking for a regular gig with you on this show. I hope I sound okay, by the way.
You sound great. You got a natural radio voice.
Thank you.
Those situations come, but God presents them. This is me. I don't know. This is my opinion, but I feel and I believe that God presents us with those types of situations, but it's up to us to choose whether or not we or how we react to them, or if we react to them at all. We have to recognize this.
Accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to figure out, and I know, I heard it this morning in a meeting, we spend a lot of time sometimes just trying to figure out what we need to figure out. And if you can figure out it's okay not to figure it out, peace, serenity, balance, happiness comes a lot quicker, and it embraces you in a warm hug.
Yeah.
Kind of like emotional nudity.
Emotional nudity. That's a warm hug right there.
There you go.
You mentioned,
and in some environments, you can get arrested for that here now in California.
Absolutely. Yeah, you might be labeled for life if. That's very true. You mentioned your kids. Your kids have never seen you drunk or loaded. Thankfully for me, my daughter was 2 when I got clean and sober. So I can't say that she remembers Daddy getting jacked up. I take a lot of pride in that myself because I came from a background of pretty dysfunctional household, a lot of alcoholism, drugs.
Right.
I feel, up until today, I've broken that cycle. What has that been like for you to have your kids grow up and not have to see Dad intoxicated? I mean, we're not perfect by any means. We still, do dumb shit.
Some of us more than others.
For myself.
No, you could speak for me all day long, and you're going to miss the mark. Trust me. I am a good witness, and I was there for most of it, and I can remember a lot of it. I think it's just to be a better role model today, and to, I was one of those drive-by parents, I call it, when my kids are growing up, and I'm working on a second book right now, which I'm really excited about, and I've asked my oldest daughter to contribute to it. And she goes, well, Dad, cool. I never saw you loaded. I go, well, how about your perspective then of being the daughter of a dad who's in recovery?
Yeah.
Or a dad who used to be an alcoholic, and just your perspective.
That's a huge perspective because you don't hear about that often.
No.
I mean, at least I don't. I haven't came across much.
To your earlier question, what's it like, because, you go in the room sometimes, what's that saying, that half the people are there to hear how bad it is for others so they can feel good, and the other half aren't really sure why they're there, but they're afraid not to be there.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one of those 17 million sayings that nobody can keep up with that shifts every week, and that's assuming you don't go to a methamphetamine anonymous meeting and they shift every 2 to 3 minutes. But that's just my opinion, and, it's so I'm proud to be able to say to my kids, if you have questions about it, because look, they're 25 and 30. They've gone through it with school. My daughter she hates when I out her, but she went to Santa Cruz, and I used to go visit her. Oh my God!
Santa Cruz is. I love Santa Cruz. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, it's a great school.
There's a lot of drugs.
And when you get kicked out of the dorms, because at some point, even though they're very sensitive to allowing people to do their own thing, when they get kicked out of the dorms, they just go live in the forest and they grow shit and they bring it down to the rest of the dormers.
Yep.
So now that marijuana is legal, we're going to see some real challenges with our youth as their brain doesn't develop like it's supposed to. But topic for another day. So to answer your question, though, to be a good role model, to be able to talk with my kids, and they have, look, the nice thing is my daughter went to a school in Arizona, and she'd have stuff go on there, and she'd call me, and she had a friend that was, near-death experience, a couple of them, and the fact that they're able to call on me and I can be a resource for them, and even if I can't directly, I can direct them, and to be that part or a role model, because I deal with families all the time in my crisis coaching piece where, by the way, I want to just make sure I get my website out there. It's yourcrisiscoach.com, and the phone number, and I'm going to give you my direct line, and I dare people to call me, is 619-993-2738, 619-993-2738, and most of my coaching is done by phone, Shane, so I can help anybody anywhere in the country.
Just over Skype, telephone, or however, or is it strictly phone, or however?
Yeah, and I just learned the new Google Chat room.
Google Chat?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there's, technology has just done some amazing stuff.
And with the cell phone today and everything, basically almost free data plans, the thing is, I'm now a phone call away, and the thing, I'm not a clinician. You probably could tell that when you looked me in the eyes.
Absolutely. I saw right through you.
You could right through me. And what I do, though, is I've done this for a long time, worked with families for a long time. So what I was getting about talking about families is I can bring something to the table that a lot of, even seasoned clinicians can't, because I deal with a lot of families, a lot of levels, and I used to work with ex-offenders and people returning from prison. So I've had some very interesting experience, and I'm a firm believer that, if it takes one to help one.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah. Let's. So you gave me a copy of the book, which was super nice of you. I really
Please don't say
Scott.
that out loud. Normally it's $15.
Okay, well, you're going to have to buy it, folks. I'm sorry. Unless you run into Scott on the streets of San Diego or at an Innovations in Recovery conference.
Right.
But it's titled, Tell Me No, I Dare You. Tell us a little bit about the book, Scott, and where people could find it.
Well, they can find it right exactly on my website, and I'll say it again, thanks for that opportunity, is yourcrisiscoach.com. You can buy it right there, and I'll send it to you, and I'll sign it if you'd like. And what the idea of the book was, the concept itself is to simply allow people to get to yes. And the idea of yes is, most of us grow up with somebody's finger in our face. I call it the shame-based finger of fun. and you're not tall enough, or you're just not smart enough, or you can't go to that college, or you shouldn't hang out with those people, or why are you out in the back, with a paintbrush, and whatever that might be. We hear no a lot. So the idea of the book is how to get to yes, and the journey of the book, a little bit's mine, and a lot of it's people that I used to serve. So it's anecdotal and experiential. It's nonfiction, and I wrote it actually back in 2008. You were just graduating high school, Shane, I
graduated in 99, but thank you. I appreciate that.
That's okay.
It goes by fast.
I can lie publicly today to people I care about and don't know.
Absolutely. I love it.
There are no boundaries, especially knowing that I'm going to leave soon and I'll never see you again until I talk to you on the radio down the road.
We'll talk again for sure.
So the idea was to just create a kind of a handbook, and what I've learned from the book itself and the feedback I've gotten, I'm going to my second book, and hopefully I'll have it out maybe fall of 2017, maybe early spring of 2018. And what I've done with this new book is I've created stories from families and what to do. So the idea is going to be, when you need help, you're going to go to the new book and you're going to find a kindred spirit, a significant other, a parent, a child, a coworker, a faith-based leader, and somebody in there is going to tell you a story about something similar, what's going on with you, to be an opportunity. We're going to list some resources, some phone numbers, and ways to get help, because I want to spend the rest of my adult life doing whatever I can to be of service to others, and I want to help monetize that, which means, when I go to a Rotary Club or a service club and I speak to 20 people, it's great, but if I can find a way to get the message out, like, to your 275,000 listeners.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's 280, somewhere around there, yeah.
We can, and then think, well, you know what, maybe Scott's right, maybe I should make a phone call.
Yeah.
Maybe, because, when we break a leg, we don't go on YouTube and see how to correct it. We go to the doctor, or we
that's a good point.
We go to rotate our tires and we've never done it before, and all we have is a toothpick and a pair of tweezers.
MacGyver style.
We go to the experts and say, can you help me with this? And so I just really encourage people to do that. If you're listening out there and you don't know what to do, don't try to do it yourself. I mean, I don't know how much simpler I can make that statement, and it's really more of an invitation to go, you know what? If you need help, ask for it.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that too. There's no weakness in asking for help. If anything, there's strength. Give the number out one more time, Scott.
Okay, I'm going to give you my direct line, which is 619 area code 993-2738. That is my direct cell phone number, and then I'll hook you up with our confidentialrecovery.com, which is our outpatient program here in San Diego. And if you're in San Diego listening and we can be of some help, the number there is 619-452-1200. We're right off of Miramar Road. We're an outpatient program, and we have in-network insurance.
Awesome. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today. Once again, that's yourcrisiscoach.com. You can find Scott there. Thanks for listening from Innovations in Recovery 2017. Big thanks to Foundations Recovery Network for sponsoring us and bringing us out here.
Thank you, Foundations.
Yes. Peace, love, respect. Keep your butt clean.